Getting to the fun part. The whole point of all these videos was to show how to make a different kind of recovery system. So now that we got the rocket built, now we're going to start the fun part of building the recovery system. The recovery systems that I build are focused on streamers, but you can put a parachute in, so you can use either one. What's really nice is that you can bring your parachutes, and it's like, well, if it's a calm day, you can switch the streamer out. Or if you have your parachute in and it's windy, you just switch the parachute out. Again, it's really nice to be able to have the option and to be able to very quickly switch. So this is the rocket that we built. One special thing that we did do was right here, which is we do have a Kevlar line with a swivel on the end. Now this is very important to put this on the rocket. Even though many times you see swivels on the nose cone and other places, those swivels are not very practical. They're not very useful. It turns out I've watched many videos, not only my own videos, but also videos of other rockets on various types of YouTube channels. They always show the body going like this. It's always spinning and tumbling. I assume it's because once you've got that end open, the fins no longer really have effect and it just tumbles. This causes your recovery lines to get messed up, and then that causes everything to spin. And when it comes down on the ground, you've got a complete jumble. I've never seen anybody else provide an analysis that detailed or even that simple to say, hey, most of your lines are getting tangled because the body is spinning, not because the parachute is spinning. So in this situation, having the swivel connected right at the body and having a relatively thick Kevlar cord here, again, this is connected with some heat shrink, the body can now spin very easily, and you're not going to get anything tangled. So this is a very important thing to have. And it needs to be right here. It can't be any place else or it's not going to work. So we're now going to hook the recovery system onto this. So the first thing we have to do is to build the Kevlar shock cord. And that's really easy to do. All we need is the Kevlar cord. Now, so this is a BT50 tube. I like using this 300-pound Kevlar. At 300 pounds, this is 1.3 millimeters. It's about a nice kind of like string thickness. It's really nice. The reason I like it is it's easy to work with, and when you're dealing with rockets of this size, it gives you a little bit more easier to work with the knots and to keep things straight. Okay, so I'm going to make a 6-foot line on this. So I need 6 feet. Some of that's going to get used up in the knots, so the end length is going to be probably around maybe 5.5 feet. Well, let's go with 6 feet. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kevlar does not like being cut. Okay, so now that we have this 6-foot piece of Kevlar, ordinarily I would put CA glue on the ends, but we're not going to do that yet. Eventually we are going to put CA glue on this, but what we want to do is we want to make 2 knots. One knot is going to be used to attach the nose cone. It can be very small because all we got to do is pass it through the nose cone and then just pull the rest of the cord through it. So this can be very small. I'm going to make this about a 1-inch length. The knot that goes in the other end needs to be large enough to pass the nose cone through like this, because we're going to use this as a way to attach the Kevlar cord onto the eyelet, which we're going to eventually have. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do that. I'll just take this cord, and you can easily slide the knot back and forth and cut the end off, so you don't have to really play with the length too much. Oops, pop the part as usual. Kevlar's good at that. Okay, so we have this knot here, and I'm going to pull it down to right about here. So this is about the length that we need for tying on the nose cone. We'll see that this knot, or this loop size, doesn't matter a lot. If it's too close, we just pull the cord through the end, a little bit more challenging. If it's too large, we just simply tie our other knots a little bit higher. So again, it's not that critical. The actual length, I can measure this off right now. You see it's about 1.25 inches. So if we make a loop that's 1.25 inches long, that'll be about right. I've had loops which are about 1 inch, and that still works very well. Okay, now this particular loop needs to be quite a bit larger, and we need to pass the nose cone through it. But not only do we pass nose cone through it, but there's going to be some heat shrink on this, which is going to make the knot appear to be a little bit smaller. So I make this plenty large. It's not going to really make a lot of difference. You see that's really large, and I'm just going to make it that long. Again, it's not going to make a lot of difference. I'll just tighten up a little bit. But again, you want to make sure that you can pass your blanket and your nose cone through it. Luckily, the blanket's going to be made out of Kevlar felt, so given the felt, that's easy to squish, and we'll just pull that right through. I'm going to go ahead and tie this knot. Again, it's a simple fisherman's loop. It's just a single knot. The nice thing about these knots is the harder you pull them, the tighter they get. But you can always loosen them up. You just take one of these cords on the back, just pull it, and the knot pops apart. So it's a really handy knot to use. An important thing to realize, this is very, very important, that these two knots, I'm going to make this really tight, these two knots are permanent. These two knots do not come apart. So these two knots used to facilitate making loops, but they do not come apart. So because of that, we are going to put CA glue on these to stiffen these knots. The nice thing about CA glue is that it will soak into the knot. So with the knot being tight, it'll soak in. Other glues, and I've seen wood glue used, you put it on here and you work it in. Working it in, you're actually working the knot apart. So this way the knot stays tight, but the glue will flow into the knot. Then we want to trim this little pigtail on the end. Sometimes I try to tack it down onto the cord like this and glue it straight. We'll deal with that in a moment. Well, actually, let's do that right now. I'm going to take this little pigtail here and try to cut it off as close as I can. Okay, like that. And the reason is that if you have this pigtail sticking out and it gets hard from the glue, it could very easily catch the line. So it really does come in make a mess out of things. So you do want to get rid of this little tail on here. This one is popping apart. There we go. That's good enough. Okay. So now what we want to do is put some CA glue on this. And it's still a little bit fuzzy. Actually, this might be easier to trim off with a scissors. Like that. Okay. So now let's get the glue, and we are going to use a paper towel. We are going to lightly wipe some of the glue off, but it's actually good to leave a lot of the glue on. We don't want to remove too much of the glue because we want to let the glue to continue to penetrate and soak in. And then when it hardens, we'll have a very, very stiff permanent knot. Just put the glue on. See, there's a lot of glue on this. Just wipe it around. Okay, so there's a lot of glue on this knot, but that's okay. This glue will eventually harden. Now the thing is, actually, it's going to drip, so I'm going to just wipe a tiny bit off so it doesn't drip all over. Okay, you don't want to have it at the point where it's going to drip back off. That's just not going to help any. So now we have this large knot, and we got the glue on here. I'm going to put some glue on this other knot as well, and I'm just going to dangle this off the side of the table and just try to roll the tape on it so it doesn't get stuck to me as I'm working. And I'm going to take this other knot here and add some glue to this. And this is the runny type of CA glue so that it wicks in very, very quickly. Okay. And again, this knot is nice and tight. It's a little bit too much glue because it's dripping off the bottom. We'll kind of wipe that a little bit. Now, here's the trick, is that this glue will slowly set just using the moisture in the air. However, there are what are called kicker sprays, and I have some spray here. This is actually 91% isopropyl alcohol. You buy this at any grocery store. A little spray in here will help it set faster, but I'm not going to do that because it'll make the glue in some areas set faster than others. So I'm just going to let this dry and set by itself. Now here's the thing. If you let this dry by itself, it will probably take about an hour because the moisture has to penetrate the knot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on a heat lamp, on a heat rack or whatever you want to call it. I have an old style incandescent light bulb. A little bit of a large drop there. I have an old style incandescent light bulb in a lamp, All I'm going to do is hang a wire across the lamp and set the loops on top. Just let the heat from the light roll upward. The continuous heat will dry this nice and solid in probably about 15 minutes. It's going to be really nice and dry very, very quickly. Okay, so that's it for this video. Again, the whole purpose is to make this cord, make the 2 loops, and we have to make sure that we got the CA glue on there, and we got to make sure that we trim this short so that the little notch on there, little pigtail hanging off, doesn't get hooked over here somewhere on the lines. So this is a very simple thing, but it's very, very important to have all these details. Okay, that's it.